To understand yoga's meditative aspect, it is helpful to look briefly at each of the 8 limbs, or categories of practice. The first limb is yama, the ethical restraints, of which the most important is ahimsa, non-injuriousness. The second limb is niyama, specific religious observances, including puja in one's home shrine and repeating mantras. The third limb is asana, the yogic postures that are so widely practiced as a regimen called hatha yoga. The remaining 5 limbs are all related to meditation: pranayama, breath control; pratyahara, sense withdrawal; dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, ecstasy, or oneness with God. Sometimes it is said that the roots of yoga are Hindu. To develop this botanical metaphor more fully, I would affirm that yes, the roots of yoga, its scriptural origins, are Hindu. But the stem of yoga, its practice, is also Hindu. The flower of yoga, mystical union, is also Hindu. In other words, yoga in its full glory is a vital part of modern Hinduism. Yoga is practiced on a large scale in Hindu communities around the globe. The fact that yoga is also pursued by many non-Hindus does not negate it as a Hindu practice. Let's draw a parallel to Vipassana, the popular Buddhist meditative system. The practice of Vipassana by those who are not Buddhists does not lessen the fact that Vipassana is a Buddhist practice, not merely a practice that has its origins in Buddhism. Can non-Hindus benefit from yoga? Clearly, more and more people today, including adherents of other religions, are convinced that this is possible. Take, for example, the title of an opinion piece in an August 2009 edition of Newsweek, "We are all Hindus now." The article quotes the view of Stephen Protero, religion professor at Boston University, on the American propensity for the divine deli cafeteria religion. He states, "You're not picking and choosing from different religions because they're all the same. It isn't about orthodoxy, it's about whatever works. If going to yoga works, great. And if going to Catholic Mass works, great. And if going to Catholic Mass plus the yoga plus the Buddhist retreat works, that's great too." However, it is equally true that leaders of some religions have spoken out strongly against the practice of yoga by their followers. For example, the Vatican has issued a number of warnings to Catholics about yoga over the years. In 1989, it warned that practices like Zen and yoga can degenerate into a cult of the body that debases Christian prayer. Further, the church leaders cautioned, the love of God, the sole object of Christian contemplation, is a reality which cannot be mastered by any method or technique. In 2008, the leading Islamic council in Malaysia issued an edict prohibiting the country's Muslims from indulging in the practice of yoga, fearing its Hindu roots could corrupt them. The council's chairman, Abdul Shukar Husim, explained the decision. "We are of the view that yoga, which originates in Hinduism, combines a physical exercise, religious elements, chanting and worshiping for the purpose of achieving inner peace and ultimately to be at one with God. For us, yoga destroys a Muslim's faith. There are other ways to get exercise. You can go cycling, swimming." In a search on the web, another informative example turned up. In 2001, the Reverend Richard Farr, vicar of St. Mary's Church in Henham, England, made a decision that became the talk of the Essex village and beyond. He banned a 16-strong group of yoga enthusiasts from taking lessons in his church hall. Yoga is, he said, an unchristian practice. Quote, "I accept that for some people it is simply an exercise, but it is also often a gateway into other spiritualities, including Eastern mysticism." Unquote. The Christian and Muslim leaders we cite as examples stated no concerns that the practice of yoga might result in conversion to Hinduism. However, all three expressed the concern that yoga practice is in conflict with the tenets of their religion. As Abdul Husam expressed it, yoga destroys a Muslim's faith. This predictably raises the question, what are the tenets of yoga? We find an authoritative answer in the teachings of B.K.S. Iyengar, one of the most renowned modern teachers of yoga. His system, known as Iyengar Yoga, is widely popular, as evidenced by the thousands of teachers listed on his website. There, in answer to his most frequently asked question, what is yoga, he states, yoga is one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. The word yoga originates from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means union. On the spiritual plane, it means union of the individual self with the universal self. Sage Patanjali penned down this subject in his treatise known as Yoga Sutras. Another popular yoga teacher, Bikram Choudhury, founder of Bikram Yoga, defines it in a similar way on his website, stating that yoga means union of the individual soul, Atman, with the universal soul, Brahman. He states, Atman and Brahman are Hindu ideological terms that are used as a reference for the mind, whereas there truly is only oneness. Clearly, it is not just its specific practices, such as chanting the mantra Om, that make yoga Hindu. It is the philosophy itself. The fact that the goal of yoga philosophy is mystical experience, or more precisely, a mystical experience of the oneness of the soul with God, is the most central attribute that makes it inherently Hindu. It is naive to take yoga as a physical system of exercise, devoid of its philosophical, spiritual, and cultural underpinnings. This profound spiritual discipline is ineluctably rooted in Hindu scripture. It is a path of religious practice on all levels, and its goal is enlightenment, self-realization. It may not be an advisable practice for followers of religions in which unity of mysticism is unacceptable, as stated by the religious leaders of such faiths. Those who are affiliated with liberal religions and those with no formal religious ties can definitely benefit from the practice of yoga, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. However, a caution to all who follow the path of yoga: be prepared to become gradually more and more aware of the unity of all that exists.